Hey folks, it says I'm live. I think I'm live, so here we go. Am I live? Okay, we always do this. Okay, so hi, I'm Blair Babylon again, and I'm here live in my group of Blair's Babes so that I can show you about that Julie Kenner sent me a special box to celebrate her newest book, which is coming out this week. And if you pre-order the book, which you still have a couple days to do, link is in the description for this video, then you can get special exclusive bonus content that you can only get, and the link to get it is in the website. So let's open this nifty box and see what's in there. I'm so excited. This is ridiculous. I'm so stupidly excited. Okay, so let me back up here so you can see the box. Okay, so wow, she wrapped this thing up. That's impressive. There's a lot of tape on here. Okay, really glad I brought scissors that aren't my sewing scissors. Okay, there's one edge. She is awesome at taping things. That's all I gotta say. Okay, here's another edge. Okay. Maybe I'll undo the tape first next time before I do this. That would be smart. Okay. There. Maybe I'll figure out how to get the box open. Oh, and it says, a gift from J. Kenner. There it is. Okay. So, that is the bottom. Okay. Oh, I think I figured it out. It's a gift and a puzzle. It's practically a game. Oh, okay, I got cool stuff. Okay, this is cool. Okay, so let's see what's in the box. Okay, first of all, nifty huge bookmark. I love bookmarks. Awesome. Ooh. Oh, how cool. Look. Devlin Saint is my kind of center. Oh my gosh, is that cute? Look at that little notebook. Oh, I needed one of these. I always need like scratch paper hanging around. Oh, cool. And it's a water bottle. Yes, it's a water bottle that you put a straw in. Yes, that is cool. Oh, and the straw, very important. Reusable straw, even better. And a pretty little votive, the battery operated votive. Oh, and it says on the bottom, it says My Fallen Saint. Oh, this is so cool. I should do this. This is awesome. Oh, and a compact mirror. Look at this. This is awesome. And perhaps the most important thing, the book. An actual paperback. Isn't that awesome? Oh, isn't it cool? Oh, and she signed it. Isn't that fun? I love signed copies. I'm just like a dork for signed copies. This is so cool. Okay, so I would like to thank Julie Kenner, who sent me this nifty box, and you should totally pre-order, there it is, My Fallen Saint, which I'm reading on my Kindle. And because it's really good, I'm about halfway through it, and it's so much fun, and so you should read it, and so you should get it. And again, if you pre-order, link is in the description below, then you can, then you will get some special exclusive content that is only on her website if you pre-order. Okay, so that was the first thing. A little bit of coffee for getting through that part. Good, not spilling it on myself. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to announce the 2 people who won the grand prize boxes. If you want a paperback, you've already been notified by email. And then now I'm going to announce the 2 people who won the grand prize Monaco boxes with all the books that are back there, plus like mugs and all the other stuff that is sitting over there and ready to be shipped to you just as soon as I get to the post office. And the 2 people who won are, I can't do that. Colleen Sylvie is number 1, and number 2 is Linda Dossett, who won the 2 big boxes. Yay! exciting. I'm so glad. So, and paperbacks were, in case you haven't checked your email, Latifah Morissette, Amanda Whitney, Denise Luskin, Susan Rollins, and Amanda Klein. So, Button's mom. Button's mom is Susan. So, yay! So, you guys should be receiving paperbacks soon, which means that, like, I actually have them, the big box down there, and I just have to put them in. And then the Goodreads paperbacks and these will all ship at the same time, which will be in probably early next week, Monday or Tuesday. So, yay! So we have announced that. So, the only thing left is probably... Hey! Oh, hey, everybody's commenting. Hey! No, I don't look like I'm in my jammies. I changed for you guys because you're special. So I changed clothes and put on real clothes and even real pants, even though you can't see them. But I'm wearing, like, honest to God, real pants, not just jammy pants. So, like I usually do. But, and makeup. See, I did makeup. Because the last time I did makeup was the last one of these that I did. So, okay, so yay! Yes, I am live. Okay, so yay. And so the next thing is that some people said that you wanted me to read just a little bit more of Rogue. Is that what I heard? That people wanted me to read just a little bit more of Rogue? Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Gail. Good morning, Shantae. Yay, this is fun. Okay, so so let me open up Rogue. I didn't open it up. I suppose I should open it. Yeah, final draft. There we go. Make sure I don't get the wrong one. So just so you know, just the publishing process. Rogue is now all ready to publish in October. It is the final audio files were uploaded, and why don't I release it right now? Because the final audio files were just uploaded yesterday. So, and I'm so excited. When I do this in a couple weeks, I'm going to announce who the narrator is. Of course, well, no, the pre-order won't for the audio won't be up by then because it takes ACX, the Audible. It takes them like 3 weeks to approve it. So by getting it up now, it'll have like a week or two of pre-order time before it's released, and that's it. So if we want to do the audio and the ebook release at the same time and the paperback release at the same time, then like we have to allow this long lag period. And last week I just turned the second book order into the narrators. So it is going, it is ready, and those guys will be like all over it. And I listened to part of Rogue when I was uploading it, and oh my god, they're so good. The guy is like really good. And the girl, who I will also announce next week, is like, not necessarily next week, later, is like wonderful. I mean, it's just, her voice is perfect. It's just lovely. It's just, yes. She did a great job, and I will gush about them more later on. Okay, so my Word document has now pulled up because it is 76,463 words and 217 pages of manuscript, which will probably be 380, 400, maybe 420 pages of book. So it takes a while for Word to get through all that. Okay, so last time we were reading chapter 1, and Dree was in the bar, and she got very drunk and made some bad decisions because some very bad things had been happening to her. So she like went to Paris and made some bad decisions. And so, yes. And so I'm going to back up just a few lines so that we remember what was going on from 2 weeks ago. Or not, like a month ago. Okay, anyway. Time has no meaning when I'm in a book. So Dree she yelled in the middle of the bar, "I'm gonna fuck every guy in this bar." And then like some guys were ready to take her up on that offer, and they were like crowding around her, and she says, "Oh my god, there were too many of them. Too many hands, and they were all too big and too strong. Leave me alone," she begged them. More hands, more leering faces, more hands and bodies coming at her and trapping her. "Stop! Jesus Christ, just leave me alone!" Movement from behind the guys. Rumbling. A few of the guys' heads swiveled left, as if something drew their attention, and their eyes widened. Large, strong hands appeared over the wall of her attackers and grasped their shoulders. Their attached bodies flailed and flopped aside. The cluster of men fragmented like a rotting seawall broken apart by a rogue wave. Men's voices yelled as the barrier they'd made themselves into was ripped apart. A tower of white cotton and muscled flesh breached the ring of guys and rose in front of her. Scents of mild soap and fresh masculine aftershave emanated from the white t-shirt and the mountain of man standing there and facing away from her. One of his arms reached back to shield her, and the other shoved forward, pushing the guy's shoulders and forcing them to stumble backwards. A man's deep voice said in British accented English, "Back away. The lady said she wanted to be left alone." The other men crowded around them shrank backwards like they were melting wax in the hot sun. Dree's heart thrashed in her chest. She was struggling to suck air because the room seemed to have fallen on her. The only thing holding the wreckage back was the huge man looming in front of her, protecting her from those men intent on rape. Intent on rape. Dree knew what would have happened to her, and people would have said that she deserved it because she'd yelled such a thing, and the whole bar had heard it. But the man was holding them back. Her heart fluttered as it settled. She was still shaking from her skeleton to her skin. The man twisted, looking down at her, and asked, "Are you all right?" Up close and looking down at her like that, his chiseled cheekbones and jaw seemed more pronounced, and his large dark eyes had grown more intense and filled with points of light. He had a straight, masculine nose, and his dark curls swept forward and framed his face as he bent. He looked like a statue of a Roman god or a sculpture by Michelangelo that had come to life and twisted to stare down at her. Shock at his pure male beauty flooded her, and it seemed like something between a tremor of magic and the abject worship of a divinity that had materialized in front of her. "Are you all right?" he asked again. Oh, by all the saints, that man had a refined British accent, too. That was just not fair. It was like he'd scooped up all the masculine perfection in the world and left none at all for the other guys. Dree was pretty sure that every man she met for the rest of her life would seem watery, weak, and spineless. And they would talk funny, too. The man turned a little more toward her, peering at her face. "You're not all right. Let's get you out of here." He grabbed her hand and tugged, and she stumbled off the bar chair. The flesh of his hand was hard around her fingers, like he had thick calluses on his palm and fingers. Her legs wouldn't hold her, and she felt like a newborn lamb trying not to fall on its face in the straw and failing. His firm grip on her arm hauled her up, and she knew her stupid face was slack with numb confusion at the squawking of the people crowding around her, and the whirling disco lights and the beeping techno music. When she breathed, the tequila from her mouth mixed with the exhaled breath of too many people packing the room, and she was suffocating. The man held her up by her upper arm and half dragged her a few steps. She was trying to follow him, but her legs would not cooperate. Her limbs tripped and splayed at bizarre angles as the music and screaming beat her ears. The man wrapped one arm around her, holding her up around her back. She frog flopped one foot in front of the other, staring at her white ballet flat shoes. If you can see behind me, I'm not sure you can. I think my cat has stolen the show. So, that's Watson. Yeah, that's Watson. He's the large cat. So, yep, he likes caves, and there he is. So, let me see. The man wrapped one arm around her, holding her up around her back. She frog flopped one foot in front of the other, staring at her white ballet flat shoes, and he hustled her out of the Buddha bar's front doors. She stumbled out of the bar and into a wall of ice. Freezing air slapped her face and sweaty skin. Clammy cold crawled under the red fabric of her skin-tight dress and sucked the heat out of her. "Oh! What is it?" the man asked. The cold stung her cheeks and arms, rousing her from her drunkenness. "It's so cold," she said. "I left my coat in there." "We're not going back in," he said, his deep breath spreading out in the night air. "But my coat!" "You can get it tomorrow." "Someone will take it." "You will be fine." The icy air sucked the heat out of her flesh and chilled her to her core. "It's December, and I need a coat." The man swirled something black through the air that had been hanging over his arm. He said, "It's not even that cold out here." The air stung the inside of her nose, and it hurt to breathe. "It totally is. It's freezing. How do you Europeans stand it?" He looked down at her as he settled his black leather jacket around her shoulders. Where are you from? Arizona! One corner of his mouth turned up in a half smile as he adjusted the jacket's collar. One of his fingertips brushed her neck, and a shiver flew through her. That explains it, he said. This is a chilly fall evening for Paris. It's a little fresh. Dries shoved her arms into his jacket, pushing her small purse down the sleeve. Of course, his coat must be roomy enough to accommodate his thick, muscular arms and broad chest. The inside of his jacket was still warm, and the lining was smooth on her bare arms like it might be silk. She wrapped her arms around herself and shivered as a hint of the warm spice and dark scent of his cologne rose out of the collar and brushed her face. Thanks. I do need to get my coat, though. That bar isn't a safe place for you right now. You can see if it's still there tomorrow. She blurted, I can't afford to buy another one. I have to go back and get it. One of his shoulders twitched, a gesture of dismissal, and he blinked and glanced off to the side from under his thick eyelashes. If you promise not to go back in there tonight, I will buy you any coat you want. Oh, you don't have to do that. Her instinctive pushback to anyone helping her popped out of her mouth before she could even think. She didn't want to be a bother. I promise, he said, his smile becoming easier. Any other problems I can solve for you? She wasn't going to tell him. She was a grown woman of 25 years old and didn't need anyone to solve her problems for her. No. Then smile for me. Smile? Before you made that ridiculous pronouncement that you were going to screw every man in the bar. Fuck! I said I was going to fuck every man in the bar. She was supposed to fuck somebody tonight. There was a reason she was supposed to do that. If only she could remember why. Yes, oh yes, you did say that. But before you announced it at the top of your lungs while standing on a chair, you had the funniest, most joyous smile I'd seen in a long time. You kept giggling to yourself as you looked at a piece of paper. It's a cocktail napkin, Dries said. Some of the silly insanity of that napkin crept back, and she smiled. Yeah, the napkin had told her to do that. She needed to check the napkin for what else she needed to do. But she needed to sleep with at least one guy tonight, or else she would never get even halfway through that bucket list on that napkin before she left Paris. That's better, the man said, and his smile grew too, and reached his eyes. She had been amazed by his looks and his eyes in the club, but his smile was even more dazzling. He lifted her chin with one finger, still smiling. More. More what? Her eyelids felt heavy, and her lips seemed clumsy and swollen. His voice dropped to a more seductive octave, and a hint of breathiness crept in. More smile. Give me more. It was such a silly request that she laughed at him. The tequila that was still in her stomach was flowing into her blood. They called that crap liquid courage for a reason. That's better. Now let me take you back to your hotel. He steered her toward the street. Hotel? But wait. She was supposed to be in a bar, living an awesome life. That woman had told her to. How did you know I'm a tourist? His chuckle was an explosion, like, ha! No, seriously, how'd y'all know that I'm not a worldly Parisienne? He glanced down at her. Just a hunch. Come on, let's get you a cab. She tried to follow him as he walked away, but her toes dragged because she was still dead-ass drunk. He caught her as she flopped forward and set her back on her feet. She said, I could totally be a worldly Parisienne if I wanted to. Of course you could. What cab service did you use? Or maybe one of those ride-sharing ones. She told him, I rode the subway here. It's late. I don't think you should take the metro. I don't trust you to get off at your stop. I'm fine. I'll be fine. Come. What taxi service should I call? I can't afford a taxi, she blurted. He stopped and frowned with confusion, peering at her, but then shook his head. All right, then I'll send for a taxi for you. It will take you back to your hotel. I'm staying at a B&B, not a hotel. His shoulders drooped and he closed his eyes. So there isn't a concierge who would help you up to your room. No, It's an apartment that I rented by the night. His chin dropped and he heaved a sigh. His phone was in his hand and he tapped the screen a few times. I'll drop you off and make sure you're inside all right. Come on, let's not dawdle. I've got places to go. Or I should have places to go. What's the address? She fished a slip out of her clutch purse. Here. He blinked at it. That's in Seine Saint Denis. Yeah, that's it. That's what the ad said. He paused again, his lips tightening. It's far into the northeast districts. It's probably better that I escort you, nevertheless. The sidewalk undulated under her feet, and she bobbled sideways. He caught her again. Why? It seemed fine. It's unusual to see tourists there. I would be concerned that you might be taken advantage of or accosted. Bah! Dree said, her hand flailing around to show her disdain at his wussiness. He sidestepped as her forearm whizzed past his shoulder. I live and work in the Alhambra district of Phoenix, dude. Nothing in Paris scares me. This B&B just kind of reminds me of home, but fancier. The man waved his phone in the air, and a black car cruised to a stop in front of them. Right, then let's just get you locked up tight, shall we? You don't have to take me home, she told him. The sidewalk still crusted under her feet like a fluffy ocean waves bobbing a small boat. I don't want to go home. I haven't accomplished anything on that napkin. That napkin is going to change my life. I'm going to do everything on it, starting tonight. I'm going back in there and get a guy and bang his brains out tonight. Dree handed his coat back to him and stalked off, trying not to fall over because the sidewalk kept rolling like ocean waves when she walked. And that is the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 1 was entitled Bad Decision. Chapter 2 is entitled Worst Decision. And it's from Maxence's point of view. So, that's the end of the chapter. So, it was great talking to you guys today. And let me once again, there's the book. I highly recommend Julie Kenner's new book. Pre-ordering it gets you special exclusive bonus content. Link below. And so pre-ordering my book makes me happy. It makes me write book 3 faster, which I'm working on now. I am actually outlining book 3, which when the header goes back to normal in a few minutes, you'll see is Prince. And it's going to be interesting to write. Book 1 is of Maxence's book is fun and it's funny and it's got some suggestions of what's to come. Book 2 is a little deeper and they get to know each other more and it's a little more of an adventure. Book 3 is where it turns into serious romantic suspense and it's going to be a very convoluted plot over the last 2 books, so I have to set that up carefully or because it's going to be really easy to blow it, so I've got to be careful. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was lovely seeing you guys again. And I will talk to you in a few weeks when I announce who the narrator is for Rogue. Bye-bye.